Views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
And we're back for one more show of the table topics. On the other side, and on the other neighborhoods, right here next to me is John. How you doing, John?
Good. How about yourself?
Not bad. I think we missed a show last week, but I think we're gonna make it up this week.
Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good.
We're gonna make it a hot show.
Ah, gee, I don't know. It's warm out today, though, huh? It's warm out today, so I don't know. I mean,
so what's going on? What's going on?
I don't know, a lot, huh?
John. Yeah, I know.
What's going on?
Crazy.
The world's coming to an end. What do you think?
Not now. In November, will.
No, it's maybe after November. Get back to me.
In November, will.
November. Yeah.
Yeah, we may gonna have to had all the National Guards at the Pennsylvania Ave there to see if we can clean.
Yeah.
If we can clean the White House.
I don't know. I think what's been a little disturbing though is some of the things that have been going on when you kind of constantly coming out there, it just gets people agitated on both sides of the spectrum, wherever they fall, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there have just been some things that are totally not needed at this point. And I think the media, unfortunately, is stirring up a lot of this, and it's totally unnecessary. Hopefully that will resolve. I don't know whether this
and believe me, it's both sides. It's in both sides.
Yeah,
I mean, those two channels, believe me, one it's not better than the other. They both like a joke. Both like a joke.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting at, Carlos, is that I don't know if things are going to be better after the election. Either way, I just think there's going to be some turmoil for probably 6 months or a year. Because like I said, I don't see either, depending on who wins as president, I don't see it calm no matter what. But, can you imagine? I mean, when the president got in last time on Inauguration Day, they were already smashing windows in DC, the Antifa group. And so if people think it's going to be better, depending on who gets in, this didn't start with this president. This has been going on for a lot longer than anybody. It just seems to be, like now that we're in election year.
I think his supporters are ruining his campaign because yes, I think they running because they're going overboard to stuff that is backing fire on him. They doing stuff too that they're not supposed to. And that's it back and fire. Well, I mean, when you go to parades and you put flags that you're not supposed to, and when you just hit on people that because they don't have a MAGA hat, and like I said, goes both ways. Both parties, both supporters are just, making things tougher for the candidates.
All right. So you're saying that Trump people are doing that?
And the Democrats doing too.
Okay. So that's what I mean. Example, walk in Fall River with a MAGA hat, go into every store you can think of, and guess what's going to happen to you? What do you think is going to happen to you?
Well, same thing's going to happen if somebody says open that supports Joe and the other party's not going to be happy too.
Oh, but I mean, if I walked around with a Joe Biden hat and you walked around with a Trump hat, I guarantee you, you'll probably have a good chance of being assaulted as opposed to me.
Because
Am I right?
again,
Am I right?
personally, I'm not going to speak for the others. Personally, I think that hat represents more than just that collar and those words.
Okay.
And I told you that before, you know, that became a symbol. So sometimes people, it's not because people don't like the other person, okay? It's the symbolism of the hat. I think that's the problem.
Carlos, how many people didn't like some of the things the previous president did? Were they assaulting people? You know what I mean? Were they constantly on the media saying untrue things half the time? Were they doing that? No. The media has stirred this up to no end. I'll give you an example. Okay. A young lady, well, let me give you, there's a few examples. Do you remember seeing the couple that were in Minnesota and Missouri in St. Louis? Okay. They are liberal people, and they were two lawyers. Remember that one had like a AR-15 and the lady came out with a handgun. And the Missouri, the AG there is threatening to prosecute them. Now, there were 200 or 300 people approaching our house that's almost a museum. Okay. You're going to prosecute them for what? All right. On top of it, this couple has tried to get private security. Nobody will do it. They finally got one person out of calling 100 people because they didn't want to get involved in this. Mm-hmm. So it works both ways. They thought that they were like the cover of white supremacists, and they're both liberal, and they've defended mostly poor people in the mix, and it didn't matter. So who's perpetuating that? It's not people that are Republican. They're not doing that. I mean, would an Obama hat or a George Bush hat, would people have tried knocking it off and assaulting people? No. You know what I mean? So it's more than that. It's like this country is built on your opinion, my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, that's fine, but you don't have the right to go after people, and that's what's happened right now. You know, and those people even said it. They're not Trump supporters. You know? So there's a lot of things that people are looking at right now. That it's really. If you go to different places, and I went into a group of people and started saying something different when they believe, I'd be ostracized, if not called names. And I've had that happen before. And it's more toward the left Democrats and the liberal people than people that are on the right and more conservative.
Well, but you have to give a tool on the Trump side. You have to give a tool because he motivates people to do it. Okay, he motivates people.
Nobody can make anybody do anything, Carlos. Nobody can make anybody. You don't think that these AGs?
This is a movement. This is not just me. That's a movement, and the movement, you know, in both sides, all these groups. Now because you never saw this so bad in other campaigns. Yes, it was always somebody disagreeing, somebody, you know, beating somebody. I give you that. But now that's the only thing you hear about. It's on the news. It's every day. It's hitting.
You're right, but there are people that are in government right now, congressmen, that want to tear the whole system down. Did you not hear a congresswoman the other day saying we need to tear the whole system down and start from the beginning? Whoa, this system's been in for 200 or 300 years. You came here, we picked you up as a refugee, and you're coming in and saying you want to tear the whole American system down because it's totally racist. That's unbelievable. Why?
So and then what?
So you don't think those people motivate people on the right, on the left? You don't think so?
But it's a reason for people to start just shooting each other. Now I have a right. I have a gun. I have a gun, and
who's shooting people?
I mean, Again, in both sides.
Carlos,
One say they have the right to have a gun. The other one says, "Well, I have a right to have a gun too." You know.
So
but if we both gonna walk down the streets thinking like that, guess what? One of us gonna end up dying before we get the end of the street.
As long as you are acting like a people that are gun owners, they're not bad. They're not bad people. I mean, if you look at it, how many of these children have been killed over the last, how many kids have been killed over the last few weeks? Were those Trump supporters that were shooting these kids? Come on. Were these liberal, were these conservative people that were doing this? A lot of this is, why is it necessary to burn down things? That does nothing. Protests do nothing. You have to go in and do it the right way through legislation. But you got to get everybody on board. I mean, you came from another country. You didn't come from another country to come to a communist system. That's what they want to change this to. They're pushing a lot of these people to take things away from people and give it to everybody else. Everybody, this is not how this country was built. You know what I mean? That's more.
I think both parties are in trouble. Both parties are in trouble. One is, I'm an American and you're not, and the other one is, guess what? I have the right to do it because it's a free country, you know. So I don't know. I know one thing: we are in trouble. We are more in trouble now than we were 4 years ago.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. How would you feel if you knew someone that had their flag upside down? Okay. They had an upside down flag.
Well, right next to you,
listen.
You have a neighbor. You have a neighbor that has a flag upside down.
Who does?
You have a neighbor there on your street that has a flag upside down.
Yep.
The other day, I'm putting gas. Gas, and I'm looking. I say, what that guy? You know, I mean, why is that flag upside down?
Yeah. Well, that's that. And now get this, okay? Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. As someone served in the U.S. military, that's very insulting to me. But you know what? This is a free country, and that's what we fight for. However, you know what I mean? The person came from another country, owns property, owns 2 fairly new cars, and then you come to this country, and then you do that. So this is a lot of things like you're saying, you're not American. People aren't being American. Yes, people do get upset with things like that, because if I went to Portugal, I don't care how bad it was over there, I wouldn't turn the flag upside down. That's totally disrespectful. And that's why people are getting very irate about things that are going on in this country. And you can say, they say that they have the right to do that. Yes, you do. Of course you do. But I would never do that. What is this? The country has only brought you good things.
Worse than that. Worse to me, John, even worse than put a flag upside down is burning a flag. Yeah. That drives me crazy.
They're both equally as bad.
When you burn the flag and you step all over the flag, to me is like, you know, what are you going to say? Yeah. That's not your flag. Then that's not your country. What are you doing in here?
So this is what's really happened over the last. This stuff has been building up, Carlos, and building up and building up and building up. It's the president's one that's going to come out and tell you how it is, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. We're Americans. We become like babies. We can't. Heaven forbid we listen to something that isn't what we think, and we flip out. You know. It just amazes me how we've turned in this country, where you can't feel comfortable telling someone else what you feel, because you're going to be called a racist, you're going to be called a white supremacist, you're going to be called a homophobe, transphobe, whatever you can think of. That's what's going to be that comes out, and that's why people are disgusted, I think, and that's why people will run to a President Trump, because he's going out there saying this is totally out of control now, people. Totally out of control. So, you know, I don't know where it's going to end. If Trump gets in, you know, people are going to be going crazy. And if Biden comes in, it's not going to be any better. You know what I mean? People will go a little crazy there. You know, mark my words, all these protests and everything that'll go on, if Trump gets in, they're going to continue. If Biden gets in, they're going to stop like that. Watch. That's what's
Oh
going to
no,
happen.
and I believe it, and I
Basically,
I believe it.
so you think
And I
so
believe
basically so basically if you look at that, he's not going to solve anything in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's I've been, I know you've been here for many years. I've been in this country my whole life, 56 years, and I was around during the 70s. The 70s were very turbulent. I lived in New Bedford. They had riots in New Bedford where I couldn't even get into my neighborhood. We had to stay at my grandfather's house because we were bordering where the riots were, and they wouldn't let you go anywhere near there. So I remember it wasn't good, but this is the worst I've seen it. Absolute worst. People can't say anything. People get fired. If they say something that somebody else doesn't like, it's terrible. It's a terrible time.
And you true believe that Trump has nothing to do with this change.
Okay. I'm not saying I think it's out there more, but I think that this stuff was out there. I think it depends on who you're talking about. This stuff was out there when the last president was in, but people didn't go crazy. When now it's like these people, if you look at the people protesting, Carlos, the people protesting are being paid. These people are being paid. All right.
Listen, these people was always out there. They just never put their neck out because they knew that people were going to go after them. So what happened now is the first days of Trump campaign, they said, that's the guy that we want so we can come out. When they hear the first days of Trump campaign, beat that and I will pay you the lawyer. That's what these people were waiting for, was somebody to be so high out there that will protect them.
Carlos, do you know that the stars in Hollywood are bailing out these people that are tearing statues down and setting fires in Minnesota where they were? Do you know that stars were doing that and some political people? Stars are paying to bail these people out that have assaulted people, set fires. Is that any different? That was one instance. This is many instances that are going on. These people are being paid, and I'm going to say this is how I think these people are being paid. When we had that terrible incident out in Minnesota where that guy died, terrible incident. But within that day, people were riding, they were throwing bricks, they were finding bricks on the side of the road. How does that happen? How did they, you know what I mean? This guy died and all of a sudden there are bricks on the side of the road the same day and the next day? How does that happen? So this is an organization. Look at some of the things. Go into some of these organizations. I'm trying to think of their mission statement and see what their mission statement is with some of them. It directly conflicts with the American and the nuclear family. There's one group that is against the nuclear family that's protesting all the time. People don't even know half the time when they're protesting with these groups what they represent. They don't know a lot of times. So I think this stuff, people a lot of times, I mean, I've been, you have presidents along the way. I find this is just really push people over the edge. And there are people that say things all the time and they're not held accountable. Why? Why aren't they held accountable? But they're after Trump. Trump says something and they're on him the next minute. And half the time, these things are lies. Half the time, the media pulls these things. They're not true. We have an undisclosed a report. Undisclosed who? Or an unofficial or whatever. You know what I mean? We have somebody that has told us this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be a reporter and getting the actual truth out of this? Like, come on. Well, you know what I mean? So the media stirs a lot of this up. The media is the one that's whipping this stuff up. You know what I mean?
I just think that we really in trouble, and I don't know the results. I still think that he's going to lose the election. And I already told you, I've been telling this for a long time. Yeah. Why I say that he's going to lose, and it's just because of the size of the party keeps getting smaller. I mean, the Democrat Party keeps getting bigger. The Independent Party keeps getting bigger, but the Republican Party keep getting smaller. And every day we see a Congress that's losing the seats. That we see a Congress that it's getting away from Trump. So that's why I'm saying that.
Okay, Carlos.
So I think he's going to lose this.
So Carlos, you think a president, the vice president, just said as soon as he gets in, he's going to put legislation in to defund the police. Do you think people are going to go for that? Do you think people want to go for stuff like that to defund the police?
Well,
come on.
Both ways, they go where people tell them to go. He's saying that.
Do you think the majority?
And he's probably not even going to do it.
Do you think the majority of the U.S. American population, or the population in this country, agree with defunding the police?
The majority, I don't think so.
All right, so why would you run on that unless you're going to do it? You know what I mean? So I can't see some of the things. I mean, the guy can't even stay in a photo thing for like more than 20 minutes without messing up. Poor the guy. I feel bad for him because I don't think that he's not going to be the president.
That can go to Trump too. You take the teleprompter out of him that said he starts screwing up as soon as he opened his mouth. And that's why they keep telling, just read what we give you to read. But he loves to go off. Loves to go off, and every time he goes off, he's just screw ups.
Carlos, come on, you're intelligent here. You're an intelligent.
I'm intelligent.
You speak two languages.
I'm intelligent, I think that you know how many times we think, but don't come out of here.
Yeah.
You don't think that way.
No, I agree.
Comes out of here, comes over here, it's out of here.
Well, that's a problem. I agree.
But that's the problem. And he's not just the president of a country. He's the president of the world.
Yep.
That figure right there, the president of this country, okay, is a lesson, is where other countries I look for to follow. Okay? And that's why the other countries are laughing. The other countries are making. You never saw other. You see it here. People making fun of our presidents. Happened with Obama. Happened with Clinton. We see. But the other countries usually, I don't remember to see them even making balloons for parades, so people can go on the parade and kick them. Okay? That's what we see right now.
Carlos. That's because if you watch MSNBC, if you watch CNN, all they do, I'll be honest, if I watch those TV shows nonstop, I would hate the president too. I'd hate everything going on. But when you constantly are demonizing someone, what do you expect is going to happen? The same thing, this is the funny part. The UK president, Boris Johnson, they all think he's an idiot too. And why? Boris Johnson's trying to get out of the EU.
Awesome.
Bolsonaro. Huh?
That Bolsonaro from Brazil, he's another joke. Okay, he went. Why you think Brazil? It's the only country out there that it has the cases from the virus so high, because he will put people together and say, this is fake. If you get sick, you die if you're old.
Carlos, try Brazil's the most populous country in South America. Of course, they're going to have more cases. We have more cases than Canada. They have 35 million. We have 330 million. So do you think people in Canada love Justin Trudeau? Come on. He can be a laughing stock too. So every president has their issues. You know what I mean? Every president has, wherever you are, it's because people are so polarized. If somebody says something they don't like, they go crazy. You know what I mean? There were plenty of things that other presidents did that I did not like, but you don't go out there and act crazy and scream at people. Now, try having a conversation with somebody that doesn't agree with you. I can have a conversation with you and we'll be like, all right, yeah, whatever. Other people will start swearing at you, blah, 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 on and on and on. So people have become so intolerant of other people's opinions. That's why this hasn't started. This has been going on for at least 10 years now, but it's got 10 times worse because somebody doesn't like how someone else talks. I don't like how other people talk. I don't like to see other people get assaulted. Again, somebody wears a Trump hat, somebody wears a Biden hat, anywhere in Massachusetts or New England, the person with the Trump hat has a chance of being assaulted, correct?
I won't say no.
All right, so
I won't agree.
So,
I won't agree
so
with
Carlos,
you.
So Carlos, who's more intolerant then? Who are the intolerant people then? They're not Trump supporters, right? Who are the more intolerant people?
I can tell you. I have a blue hat that says USA.
Yeah.
I'm not using it. Because guess what? I already saw Trump a couple of times with the hat just like it.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I'm going to still put my flag out. I've had people tell me.
But guess what? But I'm afraid. I'm afraid that this people's going to come after me. And I'm not even a supporter of Trump. And everybody knows that I don't support Trump. But if they see me with a hat, okay, they're going to read what's on the hat. They're not going to see me.
All right. So who's intolerant then?
So this is Trump, not. That means that this is not a free country, because
exactly.
I cannot even go on the street with a hat that I want to, that has nothing to do with politics, just because it says USA.
So Carlos, who created this environment? You think the president created that environment, that you can't wear USA? You can't put flags out? They didn't do that. This is the same stuff that happened in the UK. The UK, I talked to somebody about 5 years ago. They don't put their flags up anymore. You know why? Because people that immigrated into the country and people that lived in the country said it was racist to put the Yukon Jack out. Very few people were putting it out there. They used to have them up all the time. Same thing here. People are being told that you shouldn't be representing the flag. People get down on their knees when the flag's being said. This is not coming from people that are conservative. This is coming from that other side. They're the least tolerant, and they want you to be tolerant, though, of them. So anyway.
we have a few minutes, and on this last 2 minutes, I mean, we can talk for hours, and we always agree to disagree.
Oh yeah.
And we will stay friends. But here's the thing, John. I don't know if you got a call from John Parry Saturday. It's a cleanup. They're trying to do a cleanup. So he called me if I could get a group of friends to do a cleanup. I don't know if you want to be available Saturday, if you're going to do anything on your neighborhood, but you're always welcome on my neighborhood. You know me. You know.
No, that's fine. Why? What are you guys doing?
It's just a cleanup. We don't want big crowds. We just want to get together a few friends, use the mask and try to clean up, because the city needs to clean up. We need to start cleaning up the city. So
where are you going to be though? You want to just text me where you're going to be? That's all.
Yes. Okay. So if you don't have nothing to do Saturday morning, just join me. And I think we still have 2 minutes or a minute left. And if you don't mind, I would like to call Steve to get in.
Okay.
Steve, for all these years, it's been 8 or 9 years that we do the shows over the studio at BCC. I don't know if Steve, it's on the other side. He's the technic. So let's see if I can see him.
He's being shy.
There he is. Okay. And the reason I want people to see who's behind all this work, it's Steve. I want this opportunity to thank him, but I want this opportunity to sing him happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steve. Happy birthday to you. Because John didn't show up last meeting. I'm lying. They could not get the sound out of my camera.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, no,
we had to cancel the show. I was going to do this. Yeah. Last week was his birthday, but guess what? It's a week later, but that's our first show after his birthday. Thank you, Steve, again, for all this years being right there. Nobody sees you. And John,
hey,
I
looks
think
good. He looks good for 60, huh?
he looks good. Yes.
Yeah.